Chelsea fans, welcome back to Talking Chelsea. Welcome back to your Chelsea news. Enzo Maresca wants a top centre-back. Estevao William put in a man-of-the-match performance on his Chelsea debut. Jamie Gittens speaks about his Chelsea debut. We also have some player updates regarding Carney and Axel Disasi. Nicolas Jackson was offered to Arsenal, and is the Xavi Simons deal still on? Now, of course, I'll be giving my own thoughts and opinions on everything that's been reported, but more importantly, I want to know what you guys think down below in the comments. And before we get into the video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe if you are a Chelsea fan who enjoys Chelsea content. We're on the road to 10k before the end of 2025. Kicking things off, Channel 5 Sport has reported what Jamie Gittens said about joining Chelsea, and he said, "I spoke to Cole and he simply said, come to Chelsea. The manager has told me to get goals and assists, take my man on both left and the right hand side, have end product and work hard." Kieran Gill reported what Jamie Gittens said in an interview after the game, and he says, "You can't have a day off. The competition, the mentality and hunger to start is going to drive this team forward every week in training." And after the electrifying debut that he made at Stamford Bridge, he posted this on Instagram and it said, "Blessed to make my debut at the Bridge today, especially on my birthday. Lord Jesus, thank you for letting me see another year." Now, I'm going to be honest with us Chelsea fans. I was pleasantly surprised with Jamie Gittens. I didn't really know what to expect. We've seen the highlights, we've seen the clips, we've seen brief moments of him in the Bundesliga. We know what he can do, but I wasn't quite sure what we were going to be getting in his introduction at Stamford Bridge, and my God, did he blow us away. He blew us away. Electric pace. This guy's got jetpacks on his back. Blistering pace. His close control and dribbling, unbelievable. The way he was manoeuvring out of tight spaces, just watching him in a Chelsea shirt, I was just like, what have we signed? This is insane. No wonder Noni Madueke wanted to leave, because with the likes of Estevao, who we're going to speak about in a second, and Jamie Gittens on the wide areas, yeah, he ain't getting game time. He just isn't, because there's already upgrades on Noni Madueke. Like, Jamie Gittens, what a player. What a start to his Chelsea career. It was an unbelievable debut, and he only played, 25-ish minutes? And we already saw, like, wow, okay, cool, this is what he can bring to the table. If he could do this consistently, unbelievable. He was dangerous. He looked very, very sharp. Like I said, manoeuvring out of tight spaces, not afraid to take a shot on, being very direct, wanting to beat the man, beat the fullback, drive past places, look for space for other people as well. It was such a joy to see. And like I said, I was pleasantly surprised. I didn't have too much of an expectation on him. It's the first time I was watching him kick a ball in a Chelsea shirt, thinking, okay, cool, what have you got? And I was like, okay, cool. Wow. All right, fair enough. That's what you're going to bring. That's what you're going to bring. It is going to be a very good season for him. Now, of course, we have a lot of rotation on the wide areas right now, but I feel like Jamie Gittens is that main man on that left-hand side. And, well, if he keeps performing like that, the output is only going to get better. He will be scoring goals. He will be getting assists, because if he plays like that, I tell you what, it's a long day at the office for the opposition fullbacks. That's for sure. Now, I don't want to get too carried away. It was the first pre-season game against Bayer Leverkusen, and he did play 25 minutes. Obviously, we've got AC Milan tomorrow, so it'll be very interesting to see what type of performance he puts on against a club like AC Milan, you know, going against a German team, going against an Italian team, and then obviously kicking off in the Premier League campaign at the end of this week. So I'm very curious to know your thoughts and opinions around Jamie Gittens. Were you impressed from what he did in his debut at Stamford Bridge, or are you still on the fence and wanting to see more from him? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. Chelsea reported after the game a debut strike from Estevao was enough for him to be named as Chelsea's player of the match against Leverkusen. And Data Football had reported that Estevao was directly involved in 10 of Chelsea's 20 shots during his time on the pitch, the highest rate of involvement for a Chelsea player of the match, which was 50%. He also took 7 shots and created 3 chances in 75 minutes of his time on the pitch. Now, talking about Jamie Gittens blowing us away, but my God, Estevao, what a player. We knew that he was a gem. We know he's going to go on and be a superstar. And again, no pressure on Estevao. He's 18 years old. He's moving countries. He's learning the language, a brand new team, learning the culture, settling in. There's not a lot of pressure on him at all. But all Chelsea fans are just excited to see him play. The last goal he scored against us, screamer. He barely had any touches of the ball in that game, and he still pulls that out. So we know what type of player he is. The highlights and clips of him in the Brazilian League last season, unbelievable player. We know this. I think he broke Neymar's record in the Brazilian League for someone under the age of 18. Something like that last season. We know what type of player we're getting, but to see him at Stamford Bridge wearing that Chelsea kit with the World Champions badge on, tearing it up, it was unbelievable. He has a telepathic connection already with Cole Palmer. The way they were linking up was frightening. It was absolutely frightening. You had Estevao running down the right-hand side. You had Palmer in the central areas, linking up very well. But then all of a sudden, Estevao was on the left-hand side. Cole Palmer was out on the right. Estevao was drifting into central areas. Like, the fluidity in the attack and the creativity of these two players is unbelievable, and it's only going to get better. Hopefully Estevao stays fit. Hopefully Palmer stays fit. They can continue to work together on the pitch while we're playing, because honestly, this kid is something special. And I don't want to get too carried away, because like I said earlier about Jamie Gittens, it was the first game of our pre-season games, right? We did look incredibly sharp, and we absolutely peppered Leverkusen. They looked very sluggish in comparison, and they'd had like 6 pre-season games. This was our first. Now I know we had the Club World Cup. We've only had like 3 weeks off, but I was kind of expecting some sort of like hangover for having 3 weeks off. But we were so sharp, so intense. It looked like we hadn't stopped playing, and we'd not had that 3 weeks off. But the new signings yesterday, everyone played fantastically well, but the new signings, especially Gittens and Estevao, to come on, score within 18 minutes of your debut, which is a goal where he was at the right place at the right time, after a great piece of movement with Cole Palmer with a great touch, a little flick over the keeper off the bar, Estevao hitting it into the ground, popping it into the top corner. I feel like we're going to see that time and time again this season. I genuinely do. I feel like Cole Palmer and Estevao, the way that they can unlock defences, the way that Estevao can draw players in, gives Palmer a lot more space, no matter where he is on that left-hand side and drifting centrally, wherever Estevao is in the opposite positions of Cole Palmer. Palmer doesn't have to do it on his own anymore, and it's just so exciting. We can stretch the play, we can create those pockets of space. Estevao is an absolute gem. He had a fantastic game, and I'm glad he got man of the match. And you could see how much it meant to him to score as well. Kissing the badge, really is celebrating, getting involved, enjoying every moment of it. And honestly, I'll hold my hands up. I said that he's going to take some time to be bedded in, probably looking at like late October-ish before we see him regularly start. I could be having egg on my face because he already looks ready. He already looks ready, and that's after one game. So after one game, and I'm saying, I'm calling it, he looks ready. Now, I don't think that we will be smashing him in straight away in the starting lineup. He is competing with Pedro Neto on that right-hand side, and Cole Palmer in that 10. So I feel like there's just going to be loads of minutes for him, but I don't see it taking long at all before he is a regular starter for Chelsea. But I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions down below regarding Estevao William. Were you impressed with his debut? Do you still expect more from him as time goes on? Do you feel like we're going to start him straight away? Or are you very much sitting there saying, look, you know, it's one game, let's not put any pressure on him, let's just see how the next few weeks go? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. Simon Phillips has reported that Wolves are keen on signing Axel Disasi from Chelsea this summer. Now, I find this very interesting purely because the writing's on the wall. Chelsea want to offload Disasi. We've made that very clear. Aston Villa were interested. There was a couple of teams abroad in Europe that were interested. And all of the interest and the stories and the reports have really died down around Disasi in the last few weeks. Now, I know the spotlight has been on other deals. Chelsea's outgoings. Chelsea looking to offload Nkunku and Jackson, and looking to sign Xavi Simons and the Garnacho. I know that's where all the spotlight's been. But there's just been nothing about Disasi. Now, he did post something on his Instagram. I think it was yesterday, maybe the day before. So in the last 24, 48 hours, it was like a reel of him showing the hard work he's putting in. And he looks in great shape. Whether it's because he wants to fight for his position back at Chelsea, because there's not really any exits on the horizon for him, or it's because he's in the shop window and he's just trying to showcase to everyone, like, I'm in the best shape I can be. I'm ready for this season. Who knows? But Aston Villa were heavily linked with him. They liked him on his loan move. Maybe they haven't got the money. Maybe it's the PSR options for Aston Villa. Maybe they can't come in and pay the sort of fee that Chelsea are wanting. Going on how we're offloading players this summer and how other teams are buying players, the inflated numbers we're seeing in this window, I feel like for Disasi, we could quite easily get 25, 30 million for him. And like I said, do I think he's worth 30 million pounds? It's debatable. But in terms of this window and the inflated prices, I think that's probably about fair for him, 25, 30 million. If we're selling a Broja for 20 million, Ugochukwu for over 20 million, then yeah, I feel like getting close to 30 million for Disasi is probably an absolute bargain on our end. But probably a fair market value in this transfer window, personally. But it's very interesting because we do have a bit of a defensive issue with Levi Colwell's injury being pretty much all of the season coming up, which is so sad. We spoke about it in yesterday's video. And we're going to speak about it a little bit later on because Enzo Maresca has said some stuff and I really want to kind of dissect it and go through it. But does that mean that there is a potential that the likes of Renato Vega, Disasi, Anselmino don't either leave or go on loan this summer and stay at Chelsea to try and fight for their position back in the defensive line to give Enzo Maresca more options? I personally feel like Disasi's going to get sold regardless. I feel like he's off. I feel Chelsea want to get rid of him. Obviously, we signed Disasi and Badiashile in the same window. and it looks like Badiashile has a place in this Chelsea team, albeit he is injured until at least September. But he looks like he has a position in Enzo Maresca's squad. But with Disasi, it looks like we're looking to offload him. So very curious to know your thoughts down below regarding Axel Disasi. Do you feel like he will leave Chelsea? Do you feel like he will go to a club like Wolves or a club like Aston Villa? It's been interesting to see that Wolves are interested. I said the word interested way too many times there. But Wolves are keen, right? They're keen on signing Disasi, so it'll be very interesting to know what number is being thrown around between the two clubs. But let me know your thoughts down below. Transfer Zone have reported that Dortmund are hoping to exploit and make Chelsea get nervous about Carney. Chelsea wants to sell him for £21 million, or at a minimum £17 million, but Dortmund wants him for cheaper and through a loan with a buy option. I've got two minds about this. I think it's quite funny, and I'm also a bit disrespected by this. Because I'm like, hang on a minute. You've had your try before you buy. You know the release clause was 40 million. You're obviously not going to pay that. Chelsea have massively reduced it, saying 21 million with some add-ons. Boost it up over time. I think that's more than fair. It's nearly half price what we were originally asking for. And Dortmund want to try and get another try before you buy, or a loan with an obligation to buy as well, because they don't want to pay the 21 million. Now, how much do you rate Carney Chukwuemeka? And I'm talking to Dortmund fans. How much do you rate the player? Because Chelsea would Chelsea fans would have him in the squad full stop. Yeah, we love him. There probably isn't a right pathway for him right now, with the likes of Andre Santos, Asugo, and Enzo Fernandez and all the other midfielders we've got. Granted, but we don't necessarily want to get rid of him as Chelsea fans, because we think he's going to go on and be an incredible player. He clearly wants this Dortmund move, and I don't see Chukwuemeka trying to drive down the price in any way. He's turned down other options. RB Leipzig was another issue they were exploring. They're exploring the deal, and Carney was like, I want to go Dortmund. So he clearly wants to move. Chelsea want to offload him. We've already lowered that asking price from 40 million down to 21, or even a minimum of 17 million. Yes, it would be heavy on add-ons that he would have to achieve, but we know that Chukwuemeka is a good enough player to achieve those add-ons, depending on what they are. And Dortmund is still wanting to get it even lower, or a loan with an obligation to buy. I find that it's funny. Game's the game. You've got to do what you can. But at the same time, it's a little bit disrespectful, right? Because you're just kind of like, what else? Do you want him for free? We're not going to be doing that, are we? Do you know what I mean? And we've given Dortmund over 60, or was it 60 million euros for Jamie Gittens, or over 50 million pounds, or whatever it may be in sterling. We've given them that money. You've got the money. Like, we know you've got the money. They're just trying to be smart with it. So who knows what's going to happen with this deal? I do see Carney leaving Chelsea this summer. It's destined to be at Dortmund. I'm just hoping that Chelsea don't buckle under the pressure just to get him off our books. And I hope we stand firm. And I hope Dortmund just go, actually, do you know what? We were taking the biscuit a little bit. We'll pay the 17 as a minimum, or whatever. We'll pay 20 million and everyone's happy. If Chelsea do a loan with a buy option, I hope that the buy option is activated very early on. So it's like, if he plays 5 games, you have to buy him for 22 million or something like that. I don't really know the breakdowns of how they usually work. It's usually a set threshold that the player has to hit across the season. But I'm hoping that Chelsea do it in a way where basically he's gone. But they're not, Dortmund haven't got to pay any money up front. They've got to wait for these targets to be hit across the season. But either way, I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions down below regarding Dortmund and Carney, because it's destined to happen. But I just don't understand why Dortmund are trying to move like this. I get it in terms of like the game's the game. If you don't ask, you don't get. But at the same time, the price. We've reduced that price. Pay it. Simple as that, right? Kieran Gill has reported an exclusive that Chelsea are now helping Nicolas Jackson and are in talks of multiple suitors after Jackson told them he wants to explore leaving the club. And Court Offside have reported that Chelsea offered Arsenal the chance to sign Nicolas Jackson, but they don't want him. Aston Villa and Newcastle are the two clubs showing the strongest interest in the Senegalese striker. Court Offside, I don't know whether they're miles off the mark or not. Like I always say to you guys, I just react to what's reported, give my opinions and ask for yours in the comments, right? It would be so funny if this was really true. And we don't really know whether it was true or not, unless someone comes out from Arsenal side and says that this happened. But it wouldn't surprise me if Chelsea were like, Arsenal, Arteta, do you want Jackson? You've taken Madueke. If you look through history, you've given us like 200 million in Chelsea players that we no longer want. Do you want Jackson? Jackson can unlock Noni Madueke. Noni Madueke can unlock Jackson. You have them together. Deadly duo. You sure you don't want them? And for Arsenal, we'd be like, nah, we're okay. says something. Now, whether or not that happened, I don't know, but I would find that hilarious if it did. And it also wouldn't surprise me, right? It's like, we need to offload a player. Let's call Arsenal first. Just see what happens, right? Because they usually take our deadwood. And I'm not calling Jackson deadwood, but it's very clear that he wants to leave now. And the club are now helping him find suitors. Aston Villa and Newcastle, heavy links for most of the summer. Unai Emery being the guy who gave Jackson his chance, played him as a left wing, put him in as a number 9 over at Villarreal. And obviously Newcastle, there's reports coming out today that apparently they've told Isak he's not going anywhere this summer. Again, don't know how true this is. Don't know if this is going to be like a deadline day type deal. I think it probably will be. But Newcastle are keeping an eye on the Jackson situation in case of that. There's also Italian clubs, AC Milan, Juventus, I believe Inter Milan as well been linked. There are clubs linked with Jackson's transfer from Chelsea. It'd just be very interesting to see what really happens, because at the start it was like, we're not looking to sell him. We're happy to keep him, but we listen to offers. And over time, it's gone to Jackson wants to leave now. And after seeing yesterday's performance as well, he wasn't included in the squad. He's not going to be included in the squad against AC Milan. Nor is Nkunku, because they're both looking to leave now. Jackson's declared he wants to go. The club are trying to help him find suitors. But after that performance last night, João Pedro being very clinical and Delap having a good game, regardless of not getting a goal or assist, but just the movement and the way he was getting involved in play, you can tell he's going to really kick on this season and be a very good player for Chelsea. He's third choice. He just is third choice, and he doesn't want to be. He wants to feel special, and that's perfectly fine. It's his career. I've got no hard feelings with Jackson. I appreciate what he's done for Chelsea so far, minus the lack of discipline and the 2 red cards very late on the season just finished. But everything other than that, yes, he's young, he's going to develop. It'd just be very interesting to see how true it is that Chelsea were like, Arsenal, you sure you don't want him? Well, he wants to go now. You sure you don't want him? Because that would just be hilarious. But I feel like he could potentially end up at either Aston Villa or Newcastle, in my opinion, if he's to stay in the Premier League. I'm assuming he would want to stay in the Premier League rather than go to Serie A, because he has the Premier League experience already. People like living in England, playing in the top flight of English football. The money's normally better as well than other leagues. However, I don't know. I'm not putting words in the guy's mouth. He might want to go to Serie A and have a different challenge. I don't really know. But I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions down below. Do you think that there is truth in Chelsea offering Jackson to Arsenal? Do you think that happened? Do you think it's waffle? And where do you think that Nicolas Jackson ends up at the end of the summer window? Now, we know that the fee is probably going to be around £60 million. That's what's been reported the most. However, the Times Sport have reported that Chelsea expect a fee for Nicolas Jackson that is comparable to the £52 million paid by Arsenal for Noni Madueke. So, £60 million, £52 million, anything over 50, I think Chelsea will be taking. I know that we originally priced him at £80 million, but that was just a bit of a deterrent, bit of a tongue-in-cheek. Who wants to pay the money because of all these other players going for big money in this transfer window? So I feel like Chelsea are more than happy to sell him for, if they're using Noni Madueke's transfer as a benchmark essentially, then yeah, anything over sort of 52, 55, 60 million. I can see Nicolas Jackson going for £60 million personally, and I feel like he will go Newcastle if Isak leaves. I don't see Aston Villa stumping up the cash unless they sell someone. So Chelsea could potentially do a deal with still admirers of Morgan Rogers. I don't know where he'll play, if I'm being honest, but we know what Chelsea are like in the transfer market. So I feel like Jackson is gone. We know that. They're announcing it publicly now. They're saying he wants to leave. We're going to try and find suitors. I feel like it's going to be £60 million, but I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions down below. Now, yesterday, Philip Hines did report that Xavi Simons is flying to France today, which was yesterday, with RB Leipzig. There, Leipzig will face RC Lens in their final pre-season match. Xavi is in the squad. Unless something unexpected happens, he is expected to play. As long as there are no suitable offer on the table, Xavi remains a regular member of the team. The Dutchman missed training during the week due to a cold, but recovered in time to be available. And Sky Carver has reported that Chelsea value Xavi Simons near £50 million, whereas Leipzig's valuation is around £60 million. Talks remain ongoing between representatives of the clubs. This has been going on far too long now for my liking in terms of just looking from the outside. And I know that I do daily videos and I've been speaking to you guys in the comments, and we all want the here we go for Xavi Simons. Trust me, we all do. We're so excited. We want to see this deal happen. And I don't know, I'm just getting a bit cold feet with it. It seems to be really dragging over. Fabrizio saying Chelsea want to offload players. We offloaded 3 players in a day. We generated like £68 million there or thereabouts in just 3 player sales. We've got more lined up. Like, we've generated so much revenue in this window in terms of player sales, Club World Cup wins. it's not like money is an issue for us. Maybe it's just the negotiations, because a £10 million valuation difference is quite big. And if Chelsea value him at near 50 million, which would be, what, 60 million euros, which is what Leipzig originally said that they wanted for him, and they're valuing him at around 70 million euros, I just don't know. I don't know whether Leipzig are trying to be smart here and just get as much money as they can for him. They've just offloaded Sesko, so we know that was their main focus, which is why the talk stopped. I've got no issue with that. It makes a lot of sense. Sesko leaving and Xavi Simons potentially leaving in the same window is going to be huge for Leipzig. They're going to need some sort of replacements and cover and things. There was also talks between Xavi Simons going one way, Carney going the other, or Nkunku going the other Chelsea players that were available to go the other way. So that obviously stalls the talks as well. But it's basically been the same thing for the last week of advanced talks. The top dogs of both clubs are talking, and it's not really moved anywhere. Interesting to know that Xavi Simons wasn't pulled out of the squad because of his imminent move, and it's just because he was ill. Just had a cold, and now he's back in the squad, and he's considered a first team member until there's a significant deal on the table. And again, that makes perfect sense. Leipzig want to keep him. They don't want to sell him. It's just about that final figure. And I just want to know how long it's going to take to either get a yes or a no. Because the Premier League starts this week. Maresca is the type of person who's going to want his players playing for the Premier League as soon as. He's not the type of person to be like, oh yeah, we'll worry about that later. Doesn't strike me as the type of guy to be like that, for being honest. Seems like the type of guy that likes to plan ahead a little bit. Just getting this vibe from him. But either way, the window is still open. I just want to know if this is going to be a deadline deal thing, or if it's just not going to happen. Is this going to be another Victor Osimhen, where it goes on and on and on and on and on, and then the window shuts and we don't secure the target? I'm just getting cold feet a little bit, and I'd love to know your thoughts down below regarding Xavi Simons to Chelsea. Do you feel like we're going to get it over the line? I still think that we will, but I'm just a bit like, things have been going on for a long, long time. Unless, knowing my luck, I'll upload this video and about an hour later we'll get the here we go. Who knows? I'd be happy for that. But I'm just curious to know your thoughts. Do you feel like Chelsea are going to fumble this deal over a £10 million valuation? Do you feel like Leipzig will reduce their valuation to meet Chelsea at least in the middle? Or do you feel the deal was done and they're just trying to hang this out as long as possible? Let me know your thoughts. Fabrizio Romano reported after the game last night, Enzo Maresca said, it's a priority for me to get a new centre-back. We will see if we go for it. However, that was very misconstrued, because what Enzo Maresca said in that interview was, it's a priority that we strengthen the defence. This is because Levi is a fantastic player. What we achieved last season is because of him. He played all the games with me. I love him. We're going to miss him. And Nizar Kinsella then reported soon after Maresca told the media that Chelsea needed to strengthen the defence, he was seen in conversation with Paul Winstanley and Lawrence Stewart. This is very interesting, but again, it's just how the media works. The immediate response was, Maresca's demanding a centre-back. We need a new centre-back. Maresca wants one. He's talking to Lawrence Stewart and Winstanley. He's getting a new centre-back. We're back in the market. It's not really what he said, and I feel like it's just been pulled out of context and plastered straight away, because a lot of these places now are kind of rewording what was actually said. When you watch the interview, he was like, we need to strengthen the defence for sure, because we just lost Levi. He's the key in the heart of our defence. We've just lost him. We need to strengthen. Now, it wasn't very clear whether he meant go into the market and buy a new centre-back straight away, or just look at the internal options we currently have and find the best solution. That's basically what he was saying, is like, we just need to find a solution to the issue we have at hand. Because we have a lot of depth. We have a lot of rotation within that centre-back position. Akshumpong played fantastic. You got Chalobah, you got Tosin. Badiashile is currently injured, but he can play on the left-hand side. You've got Hato that could play as a left centre-back or as a left-back. There's options. There's options. But Ansel Mino, if he doesn't go on loan. Vega, if we don't sell him. There are a lot of options. So, do Chelsea need to go into the market for a centre-back? I mean, they could, but at the same time, I feel like Maresca is trying to think about, the internal options that we have. We don't know what was said in that conversation between Paul Winstanley, Lawrence Stewart and Maresca. They might have had that conversation to say, do you know what? Let's just look at the market, see what's available, and if there is a good opportunity, then yes, we will attack it and get you a new centre-back. But Maresca might have been like, do you know what? Don't worry about it. We've got enough options internally. Let's just think about tactically what's the best setup. I don't want to put words in either of their mouths, but that's all that's been reported. But it was quite funny that it was like, Enzo Maresca demands a new centre-back. He wants this, he wants that. Because it pulls people in, and I get it. But that's not really what was said, and they've actually changed their tone from what was originally reported, and this is actually what was said. However, there has been some more reports. Mike McGrath has reported that Liverpool have a clear run at Mark Gahey, as Chelsea are currently prioritising other transfer targets despite Levi Colwell's ACL injury, leaving them short at the back. And this is basically a subtle way of saying, Gahey isn't going Chelsea, he's going Liverpool. We know he has heavy links there. We know that Chelsea really wanted him in January. We didn't want to pay the money over the odds money. We've been linked with him in the summer. We haven't gone for him, and it looks like he's going to end up at Liverpool at the end of this window currently. And I feel like this just kind of backs up. I don't think Chelsea are going to go in the market for another centre-back because we have people and players that can fill that hole and that void. Fofana's still injured, but he is like coming back. We just have a lot of variety. Unless Chelsea offload some more players, I don't really see a need for us to go in for a centre-back. It would be amazing to go in and go get a Mark Gahey, or I don't know, spend massive and go get a Bastoni or someone like that. Antonio Silva from Benfica, he was unbelievable against us. We were linked with him after the game. So I'm not writing it off, I'm not ruling it out. Chelsea, we don't know what Chelsea do in the market. They're just so surprising that they do what they want, right? And that's why we love it so much. But I honestly think that we probably won't go into the market for a centre-back. Happy to be proven wrong. Because again, it's reports like this that kind of suggest that, he's linked to Liverpool. Chelsea aren't going to stress and worry. I reported the other day that Chelsea hadn't initiated any emergency plans either to say that we're going to go and panic buy a centre-back. I just don't feel like we need to currently. We may regret this decision going into the season, but only time will tell. When you look at the squad depth and who we have that can play in all these different positions, I feel like we should be okay. We should be okay in the rotation. I feel like Levi Colwill is our best defender, and he is the heartbeat of that defensive line. And he improves so much, and I feel for him for being injured for so long. But I feel we'll be okay. I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions down below. Do you feel like we should be jumping into the transfer market and securing another centre-back? Or do you feel confident in the rotation of squad that we currently have available? The likes of Fofana when he's fit, Badiashile when he's fit, Tosin, Chalobah, Anselmino if we keep him, Vega if we keep him, Joel Hatto that could play left centre-back or left-back. What do you honestly think about this centre-back positioning, who we currently have, or where do we go from here? Very curious to know your thoughts. And that's all the latest Chelsea news. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on everything that's been reported down below in the comment section. I love having a conversation with you guys. And if you have watched this video all the way to the end, firstly, you're a real one, and I mean that. You're a real one. But secondly, there'll be a thumbnail appears on the screen. So if you are a Chelsea fan who enjoys Chelsea content, make sure you click that thumbnail because you'll enjoy that video too.